Hi everyone, Cecily Clements from Root Migration again. Thank you for coming and watching this video. Today I'm going to be talking just very generally about what consular processing is. My first video I talked about how I am reviving my company Root Migration, and I'm going to be focusing on consular processing cases. So I wanted to talk today in just a really high level about what consular processing actually is. And so consular processing just refers to anybody who's applying for a visa at a consulate outside the United States, so anywhere around the world. And there's a lot of people who consular process. There's big buckets and categories. The first sort of huge bucket and category is non-immigrant visas. Non-immigrant visas are people who are coming as tourists to the United States, or students, or H-1Bs you've probably heard of. I'm not going to be talking about those. I don't handle non-immigrant visas. The other large bucket, or a sort of category of eligibility for people who might consular process, are employment-based visas. So anybody who's coming, to the United States based on their job, they've been petitioned by a particular employer. I also do not do those types of cases. And so this entire YouTube channel is going to be dedicated to what we call immigrant visa, family-based immigrant visas. So the petition, which is the start of the case always has to start with somebody with some sort of status in the United States filing what's called a petition for somebody else in order for them to go get a visa and go to the consulate, get the visa, and come to the US. And so the petition that I'll be discussing on this YouTube channel, and the type that I handle exclusively at Root Migration, are family-based petitions. And so these are petitions filed by either citizens of the United States or lawful permanent residents. And just to explain briefly, when I talk about lawful permanent residents, they're also called green card holders, LPRs, permanent residents. And those are individuals who have obtained a very high level, if you want to think of it that way, secure status in the United States. They are eligible to live and work permanently in the US, and they're eligible to become citizens. And so lawful permanent residents, people who are green card holders, can petition for their family members, and citizens of the United States can petition for their family members. And those processes are different, and I'll talk about those in subsequent videos because I'm going to keep it real simple today. But the point is, what I want to convey is that when you're talking about immigrant visa, family-based immigrant visa petitions or immigrant visas, when the person comes into the United States, they become a lawful permanent resident. They become a green card holder. Like, green card basically comes in the mail. And so there are categories of individuals who are eligible to get their papers or their green card or a visa here in the US, right? Not everybody has to go through the consulate. The most sort of classic or traditional way a person would do consular processing is if that person was never in the US in the first place, or doesn't live in the United States. They live in another country, but they have a family member here in the US, and that family member files a petition, and then they go to the consulate wherever they live, and they apply for their visa, and then they immigrate to the United States. And that's sort of the traditional, straightforward way. Then there's people who are here in the United States, and they're not eligible to get their papers here. They're not eligible to file in the United States. So they can get status, they can get permanent resident status in the United States, but they have to go to the consulate wherever they were born. It'll be typically the consulate of their citizenship, primarily where they were born, but it depends on the person's circumstances. And so that can be really scary for some people. And so I want to talk about that briefly, but I'll talk about all of it, in all the videos. But I do really want to say this. I'm creating this YouTube channel, and I'm talking about these on videos to really give people information and help people understand consular processing and how it works and sort of the timeline. I'm going to go into a lot of details, but immigration law is super complex, as I'm sure many of you know or have heard. There are lots of moving parts. There are a lot of different rules. And so it's really, really, really important, if you're thinking about doing a consular processing case, or if you're in the middle of a consular processing case, that you get competent legal advice. I have helped too many clients who tried to do it on their own and then didn't understand the law, and their loved one was caught outside the United States. So it's and in some cases can't come back. I mean, it is scary. So I just really want to encourage everybody to talk with an attorney. Watching these videos is great. You can learn some stuff, but I'm not going to be able to cover everything under the law in all of these videos, obviously. The other thing to understand about consular processing is when you're outside of the United States, you lose certain rights. You're not protected by the Constitution. You don't have a right to counsel in the consulate. So people are giving up certain rights by going the consular processing route. And again, that can sound really scary, but what I really want to encourage people to do is understand that this is a process that works. I did it for my own husband. I've done it for many of my clients. And actually the interview in the consulate is what I've been, from my personal experience and experience of all my clients, like many of my clients, is actually not even that bad. It's a really easy interview, just a few questions, and I'll have another video where I go through the specifics of what the interview is like. But it's scary to go, but really it's not that bad. And honestly, on the other side of it, when you come back or your loved one comes back and they have their green card, it is worth it. 1,000 million times worth it. I've lived this myself with my own husband. And so that's really what my goal is in creating root migration and focusing on this type of case, doing these videos, and everything that I'm going to do in this new company is to really help people understand this process, not be afraid of it, but know that, you have to make sure you qualify. If you qualify, this can be a really great option. I'm laughing because lots of immigration attorneys don't want to do these cases. And I think lots of people would say, never call it a great option. But I guess I see the value in it, and I know that it works, and I know that it can work. And I feel really confident, as long as a person is qualified and eligible, that this can be a good option for people who have no other way of normalizing their status. Because frankly, the other option for some people is just to remain undocumented. And to me, that's unacceptable. When you have the ability and the means and a way to get status and obtain that security and that peace and that, eliminate the stress for your family, I think you have to do it. And it is a risk and it is scary, but it's 1,000 times worth it. So that's my overarching message when it comes to consular processing in general. And I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview of what consular processing is. And so, as I said, I'll be continuing to post videos, and I'll go into like specifics of all the different steps and go into everything. But if you have, if you watch this video and you have specific questions, or you have a specific topic that you'd like me to do a video on, please put a comment. I'd love to hear back from you, and I'd love to know what is it that you want to hear from me, and I'm happy to do a video to answer any specific questions. Let me be clear. I can't answer specific case questions, right? So don't give me your entire scenario of your case and want legal advice, because I can't do that in this medium or this context. But general questions, I'm happy to do a video and answer. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.